Oakland preview time. Syracuse plays Oakland. I believe they're the Bears. They're not a very good basketball team. We'll talk about them. We'll talk about the upcoming stretch and all of Syracuse basketball. It's on Locked On Syracuse. It's right now.
Are Locked On Syracuse, your daily podcast on the Syracuse Orange, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hello and welcome to your Tuesday episode of Locked On Syracuse. Thanks for making Locked On Syracuse your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get podcasts. This episode brought to you by Omaha Steaks. Omaha Steaks, a gift from the heart, a gift that will be remembered with every unforgettable bite. Order with complete confidence today, knowing you're ordering the very best. Visit omahasteaks.com. Use promo code LOCKEDON, that's one word, at checkout to get that extra 30% off your order. We're talking about the Golden Grizzlies of Oakland today. They're not the Bears. They're the Golden Grizzlies, which I like 10 times more than the Bears. They're bad. They're 2-8 on the year. Their last win came against Eastern Michigan, which is not a terrible school. They won that game 92-90. They won their first game against Defiance 92-27. That was a blowout. And they've lost their other 8 games. They're not a good team. One that Syracuse should absolutely blow out of the water. I wouldn't call this game exciting, but hey, Syracuse has lost bad games in the past, so you shouldn't just close the book on it already because we know what can happen here. Though, like we talked about in yesterday's episode, the upcoming stretch for Syracuse basketball is going to tell us a lot about where they're going to go. They should obviously win every single one of the games ahead, which is Monmouth, Cornell, Georgetown, of course, Oakland, and then there's, at the end, I believe, Louisville and Pitt to round it out, and maybe if there's a BC in there. All these should be wins. Yeah, I mean, Owen, what are your thoughts here?
I'm looking at this game, and to talk, football equivalents, this is a Wagner game. It really is. I mean, this is a game that you should be up big at halftime, and we should be questioning running clock in the second half. That is the type of game this is supposed to be. You've got 2 of these on the schedule. Monmouth and Oakland are both, in that boat in Ken Palm's, outside of Ken Palm's top 300 basketball teams in the country. This is not a team that should give Syracuse trouble. However, as you said, teams like this sometimes give Syracuse trouble, especially early on. So I'm really interested to see, can Syracuse play that complete game? And I know when they're playing games against opponents like this, them playing a complete game is what they're supposed to do. But it's good to see them do what they're supposed to do. Same when, people throw the Gerard comment out there. Oh, he scored 20 points. That's what he's supposed to do. It's good to see a guy do what he's supposed to do. So I want to see this team come out and do that, right? You have an opportunity to have really a gimme game and just be able to blow past this game with minimal issue. I want them to be able to do that. And that's really important for me. And I think when you look at this game and the upcoming stretch, I want it to be as easy of a stretch as advertised, because that's what it should be. And this is a perfect opportunity for a young team to build and figure itself out and continue to grow and change that mentality and approach to enter, games. I think it'll be game 4 of ACC play when this 7-game stretch ends of very easy games for Syracuse. Nope, game 5 for them when they get to Virginia on January 7th. And you're in game 5 of the ACC, and you should have a lot of things ironed out, even with a young team, even with the way this season has started. You have a really, really good opportunity ahead of you that you need to capitalize on, because it is a golden chance for you to figure out what's going wrong, how to approach it, and figure out a lot of different ways and test a lot of different ways to combat the numerous problems that have faced the Syracuse basketball program 8 games into the season.
Yeah. I mean, it's the time to gel, right? It's the time for this team to get its legs, figure it out. Um, what kind of team are you going to be? Who's going to be the rebounder that we spoke about yesterday? I said that stat about Cole Swider being second in rebounds. He was first, like Owen pointed out, not only in what he averaged, but also total rebounds by the end of the year. He was first. Jimmy Boeheim was second. So Jesse Edwards is going to lead the team in rebounds this year. There's no doubt about that in my mind. Um, but there's going to have to be a guy who's second, and he's going to have to be close, and it's going to have to be Benny Williams or Justin Taylor if he ends up stepping up. So, I mean, we're going to see if there's going to be a lineup change. You're probably going to see it in this stretch because Boeheim's going to have the liberty of trying different things out and seeing who works where. He has talked so much like smack about Chris Bell in post-game press conferences. I think he's threatened Bell to not play in a press conference like 7 times. Yet he's still out there every game. So I don't know what that is from Boeheim. Maybe just trying to rile him up. Maybe just trying to motivate him. Maybe that's his way. And maybe it's worked in the past. I don't know if it will with Bell. I know it hasn't worked for plenty of guys, namely Frank Anselem, who just left, Jalen Carey, who's gone, Bryson Goodine, Kadari Richmond, and the list goes on. But Chris Bell, a guy who's going to have to rebound.
I'll throw the teacher comparison in there, right? When you threaten to send the next person to do this down to the principal's office, and the next person that does that, you give another warning, no one takes you seriously, right? When you threaten, if Chris Bell doesn't get rebounds, he's not going to play, and then he follows that up with a 30-minute game or a game that he starts. Once again, do the threats carry that much weight at this point, right? An empty threat is not going to be the spark for Bell.
He might do the Alan Griffin at the end of 2021 where Griffin started every game, but especially in the tournament. I remember, I don't know if it was the San Diego State game or maybe it was the Houston game. I think it was at Hinkle, which must have made it the first or the third game. Griffin started. They went down the floor. He had an open three, bricked it immediately. Not even 1 minute into the game, Boeheim said, "Get the heck out of this game." So I don't know if that's what the Chris Bell strategy might be for Boeheim. I don't know what he's going to do with that small forward position. That's the one with the most contention. But like we talked about yesterday on the episode, Justin Taylor is on his heels, man. And I mean, he played 30 minutes in last game. He hits his shots when he's open. He's big. He rebounds. He gets into the paint. Justin Taylor, he might deserve a start at this point.
Yeah, and I think I don't even hate a Moneyball approach to this, honestly, right? You don't need somebody that's averaging 8 rebounds a game. But the 40 minutes that comprise that 3-guard spot or that small forward spot needs to comprise of, 6, 7, 8 rebounds a game at the least. You can Moneyball it, right? I don't need this to just be Justin Taylor's averaging 8 a game, or at the 4, Benny Williams is averaging 8 rebounds a game. But I guess between the, say, 80 minutes at the 3 and 4 combined, you need to be, easily into double figures and on your way towards 20 rebounds as a duo. Maybe, 15 rebounds in that combined 80 minutes, I think, is what you need, the way Edwards has been rebounding and crashing the boards. But you do need 2 guys to step things up. And even the third guy, right? You've had flashes, right? And I hate that I keep using the word flashes. Every episode I say he's showing flashes, and I want to get away from it. But you're seeing it a little bit. Occasionally, Benny crashes the boards and does a really good job getting the board. Same thing with Taylor. There's not that consistency, though, and Bell has not shown it, period. You've got to start seeing these 3 guys step up, and grab 3, 4 rebounds a game. Right? I'm not asking each guy to get 10 or each guy to get 7 or 8, but you've got to be 3, 4 in that range. I mean, Bell's averaging less than 1, right? Taylor is getting there. I like the aggression in terms of rebounding, but these guys, and you've got to sort of step back and, you don't need to replace Jason Giambi, but you need to do something to have someone step in and replace that production and the production of 3 guys. And right now you need to place that two positions, right? Your 3 and your 4 are not combining for enough rebounds every game. And that is why you consistently get out rebounded. even in a game where you're playing Notre Dame, a team that has nothing on you rebounding wise, and they out rebound you by 7. Your 3 and 4s need to combine for probably twice as many rebounds as they're currently getting per game, maybe even a little bit more, to figure this out and have that solution be really solidified for me.
Yeah, and I think it's important to note that, like, I was gonna say I'm not worried about the team, but now that I think about that, we've seen some bad performances, and the Notre Dame game was a big win. But like a
Yeah.
lot of people pointed out in the replies and the comments on our Twitter, you're not going to win every game shooting 3 of 18, and you're not going to win every game when only 2 of your guys scored. Obviously, everybody scored, but only 2 of them scored double digits.
Yeah.
That's a little bit worrisome. This is the stretch that's going to prove that. But anyway, Owen, hit me with an Omaha Steaks ad read.
Oh,
This is an
yeah.
ad read.
This is an ad. I once got a gift of Omaha Steaks for Christmas, and it was delicious. I cannot deny that. And the holidays are here, so let's achieve gifting greatness when you give the gift of perfectly aged, tender, and delicious Omaha Steaks. The steak experts at Omaha Steaks have put together special curated gift packages to help take the guesswork out of gifting and make you a holiday hero. Go to omahasteaks.com and take advantage of 50% off site-wide, plus use code LOCKEDON at checkout to get an additional $30 off your order. Send an assortment of mouth-watering favorites guaranteed to impress, like the legendary Butcher's Cut filet mignon, air-chilled boneless chicken, ultra juicy burgers, and even easy to prepare comfort meals that are ready in a flash. Omaha Steaks is ready to ship your order right away, so shop early and beat the shipping rush. Go to omahasteaks.com and use promo code LOCKEDON at checkout. Omaha Steaks is a gift from the heart, a gift that will be remembered with every unforgettable bite. Order with complete confidence today, knowing you're ordering the very best. Visit omahasteaks.com, 50% off site-wide, plus use promo code LOCKEDON at checkout to get that extra $30 off your order. Minimum order may be required.
Look at that. Gotta love Omaha Steaks.
Gorgeous.
I was just thinking of Geno Thorpe. Remember
Okay.
Geno?
I'm familiar.
I thought he was a dog, played 6 games, left the program. And it was making me think of guys who left the program, either transferred or whatever. So I want to take a little gander at guys who have transferred away and see how they're doing now. Because it was just something I was curious about. And
Okay.
I'll throw up a picture of Geno Thorpe for those who don't remember him. He was a third school transfer, came from USF, first at Penn State. I was a huge fan of him. There he is, number 30, big Pirates fan from the look of his tattoo. But left the team. Now, it makes me think of guys like Quincy Guerrier, who is over at Oregon now. He's played 9 games this year, started all 9, 10 points per game, 4 rebounds, doesn't pass, doesn't play much defense. His numbers are worse than they were when he was at Syracuse. He scored 13, 14 a game when he was at SU, 8.5 rebounds per game. He still shot the 3, not as much as he does now, but still did. He was developing that shot. Guy like him would be lovely to have right now. But I don't think he liked playing for Boeheim or for Syracuse. I think he really wanted to get out.
Yeah.
But
And I
numbers
think
are worse.
It's evident in it seemed like a linear transfer. Like he didn't really get to that much better of a school or that much worse of a school. Like it seems like the equivalent in a different location, which tells me a little bit. I also look at, a guy like Kadari Richmond, who everyone looked at with, such high expectations. You could say he got put in the doghouse too early. And that's what sort of brought him to the transfer after a year.
The conversation surrounding Richmond, I think there are so many differing opinions about it. Some people thought he was going to be insanely good. I thought he was really, really good. He was a really good player, averaged a steal and a half per game, still does now at Seton Hall. He started 8 games this year of 8. He rebounds the ball well. He never really shot the ball well. Still, he's okay shooting the ball. He's actually shooting 44 from 3 this year, but only shoots about 1 a game. Um, he's gotten better, but I don't think he's skyrocketed into the star that I think a lot of people thought he would be. Though at the end of that season, he should have played more than he did, and he was mad that Boeheim didn't let him shoot the 3. And Boeheim, I think he was more right about Kadari than people like to admit, though I think Kadari should have played more. And Kadari at the top of the zone for the grand majority of the game would have been better than Joe on defense, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, I mean, at 6'6", that the length at the top of the zone is something you definitely miss, regardless of offensive output. But I will, when he, decided to transfer at the end of that season in 21, I don't think anyone was really shocked. But this was the guy. Like sometimes you lose a guy like, I don't know, Bobby Braswell, and you're like, oh, do your thing. But Kadari was a guy that I was very worried was going to be he transfers and pops off and becomes a dog and becomes that guy for another school. The production's improved, not as much as I think I anticipated, 7.5 points a game so far this year. He started all 8 games for Seton Hall at this point. I don't know. I thought it was going to be a lot worse when I look at those stats and I looked at him leaving. But once again, it's a guy that you wouldn't hate to have. And I think Kadari transferring is what opened the door for Symir coming in. I don't necessarily think Symir transfers in if Kadari stays.
Yeah, but I'd rather have Kadari than Symir.
I sort of look at that as the trade-off. No offense to Symir. I think I take Kadari over him, and I don't think anybody is questioning that decision. But, it's a guy that you would take over Symir in terms of the ability to score offensively, that length at the top of the zone. Both are, going to present the skill sets to be solid defenders. But another guy that you look for. And, there's a bunch of lesser names as well that have transferred out that are doing okay. Not really. No one's.
The Bobby Braz one is a really interesting case because he left because I don't even know what. Brad and I used to talk about that on the pod over the summer. And it's just a weird case because he left maybe because you didn't play enough. And then he went to Charlotte and didn't even start half the games last year. He started 10 of 31. This year hasn't started a single game. So it's not like he's playing way more or something. I mean, he's getting more minutes. Actually, he's getting 12 minutes a game this year. Guess what he got in 21? 12 minutes. 12 minutes.
Say it.
And he's doing it in the Conference USA now instead of the ACC. So, Bobby, I loved you. I don't know why you left. Obviously, there's a bunch of other names out there, too.
How about Jalen Carey?
Jalen Carey, I was looking at. He never turned into the star that a lot of people thought he would be. He was a huge recruit coming in at URI now in Rhode Island, the A-10, 6 points per game, couple rebounds, couple steals.
Comes in off the bench.
He's only played in 3 games this year. 3 games. Last year played in 24 games, didn't start a single one. How about Bryson Goodine, who's playing at Fairfield now? He transferred from Providence. He transferred from Syracuse to Providence, played 2 years at Providence where he didn't score more than 2 points a game and didn't play more than 6 minutes a game last year, didn't start a single game, and now is playing at Fairfield, and he's not starting at Fairfield.
Yeah.
So maybe Boeheim was right about him, about a lot of these guys. How about Frank Anselm, who's at Georgia now? He's playing really similar minutes than he did last year. I think a lot of these guys think the grass is greener when it's really not. And this isn't just to defend Boeheim. To be honest, this is just because I thought of Geno Thorpe and I got curious. But anyway, hit us with a Built Bar ad
to see. Yeah.
And then we got to hit predictions.
We do have to hit predictions. It's just interesting to see, when these guys leave and we, think it's a Boeheim thing. Hindsight, right?
Amen.
He hasn't been that far off in terms of the minutes these guys deserve and the production that they can get. As much as a number of people don't always want to hear that when putting a narrative across, right? So interesting, definitely, and something that we can definitely return to and keep an eye on as we continue throughout the year. But let's talk Built Bar. Can we pause the pod Great. You got to try this. It's Built Bar's new reimagined flavors, the cookie dough topper, the coconut brownie bar, and the coconut brownie topper. White chocolate peppermint granola. It's Built's take on the granola bar, so it's more filling and still insanely tasty. And candy cane brownie, puff Built bars, or puff Built puffs are like biting into the universe's most delicious cloud. For anyone who hasn't tried Built bars before, they're literally the best tasting protein bars ever built. They're revolutionizing nutrition as we know it with 100% real chocolate, 17 grams of protein, and shockingly low sugar and calories. Just 130 calories, Bones. Sink your teeth into that first bite, and it'll change your life forever. I'm not kidding. There'll be a time before you tried these new Built flavors and the magical, wonderful time afterwards. You're probably wondering which new flavor is my favorite. An unanswerable question, to say the least. They're all unbelievable, and they're all so different. So you can order a mixed box and try all 5 flavors for yourself. Built, you got to try this. Get 15% off your order right now by using the code LOCKEDON15 at Built.com. That's LOCKEDON15 at Built.com.
Woo! Built. All right, how about this? You eat an Omaha steak, and then for dessert, you have a Built bar. Look at that.
Holy protein.
All right, let's talk predictions. We decided from this episode on, we were doing spread only. We are no longer going by points because basketball points are dumb. BetOnline offers Syracuse by 16 in this game, which, what?
I don't like that number.
You don't like that number? What didn't you like about it?
You know,
if either one of us is a betting smart person, it is not me, it is him.
I appreciate that shout, but I keep giving picks on this podcast for Thursday night games, and I am never right. So I wouldn't take my advice either. I would say I'd like Syracuse to cover that, honestly. I do think this is a game where Oakland is that bad. Like, they're a terrible basketball.
They should win this game by 30 points. Syracuse
they should win this game handedly. When you look at KenPom, I mean, for those of you that don't have KenPom, it's tiered off in terms of, you know, the go-to guys, the major contributors, and all the way tiered off to like role players and limited roles. The only go-to guy on this team is Lauren Bowman, who plays 16% of their minutes, which is like, I don't know, 6 or 7 minutes a game. They don't have a big-time name. They don't have a guy that's going to come out and really torch you. Jalen Moore kind of is pretty good at the guard spot. Senior presents, you know, the main experience of their big-time players and guys that are going to play a good amount of minutes. But I don't know, you know, who can torch this team. And obviously that's a recipe for some no-name to come in, get hot from 3, and drop 25 against Syracuse in what ends up being a 5-point Orange victory. But I really do think I look at this team and I look at the opportunity that it presents Syracuse, and it is a game that Syracuse should win handedly. And you should get the bench and guys that you're looking to see, you know, and I hate to throw them into this pot right now, but a guy like, you know, Malik Brown and guys like Quadir Copeland to get some run towards the end of this game. Peter Carey to get some run at the end of this game, stay fresh, stay with game time, you know, experience against a non-Syracuse squad, right? Outside of practice minutes. I think that's what you're going to get in this game, and I would be shocked if that's not the case.
KenPom's got him by 17. So I'm going to rock with that, and I'm going to say that Syracuse covers in this one. They win this game by at least 16 points, and they go above 500 once again this season.
I hope so. I'm looking at their at the points per game for them right now. You know, Trey Townsend averages 16. Keaton Hervey with 14. They got a lot of guys that average about 10 points a game, 10 to 15 a game. No one really jumps off the page. I got a couple of guys that have shot the 3 well. 2 guys at 40+%. Is that worrisome? Slightly, but not really. I mean, this team is getting torched in basketball games against any team that you could think of that ends in the word state. We were talking as we jumped in on Ken Palm earlier.
Yeah, they've played a lot
they
of
lost
states.
to Long Beach State, San
bunch of
Jose
states.
State, Missouri State, Cleveland State, Oklahoma State. They lose to states all day long. And this is a team that should give Syracuse no issue whatsoever.
All right. Well, we both think Syracuse wins. Do you think they cover?
Yes.
All right. We both
Take
think
that
they
for what it's
cover.
worth.
Don't take our advice as gambling advice because that is not what it is. But that does it for your Tuesday episode of Locked On Syracuse. Thanks for making us your first listen every day. Go make your second listen to Locked On Sports Today podcast. They got a lot of great stuff going on over there. That's free and available wherever you get your podcast, as are we. I'm Matt Bonaparte. He's Owen Valentine. We'll see you tomorrow. That's upside down.